Hi friends, this is Subrat here and this is the 99th video on my Python series, and in this video we are going to discuss about how to close a file by using the close method. So let's start. We have already seen how to open a file by using the open method, and this is the last step in doing file handling operation. We have to close the file after doing or after updating anything inside the file. At last you have to close the file. So let us see how we can use the close method. So when we are done with operation to file, we need to properly close the file. So generally, if you are doing some operation in some Word documents and all, finally you are just closing it. You are just releasing the resources handled by the file. So closing a file will free up the resources that were tied up with the file and is done using Python.close method. So when you open a file, some memory location will be allocated to it and some CPU processor will be allocated to it, and after doing the operation or after finishing the operation you can close the file. Then only the resources which are allocated to it or held by it will be freed up. Then other processes can use the resources. If you have opened lot of files, then you can see generally your system will got hanged up. So whenever you are closing the applications or files whatever you have opened, then your processor will just come to its normal position. So it is a good programming practice that after doing your operation you have to close the file. Python has a garbage collection to clean up unreferenced object, but you must not rely on it to close the file. Okay, so what it is telling, Python has its own garbage collector. That means what are the objects, file objects, variable objects that are not referenced, that we are not using, then it will find out those objects and it will put it in garbage. But we must not rely on it. It may or may not do the garbage collection. We have to explicitly close our file. So let us see how we can close the file. Okay, let me use this file with me, gurukulwisdom.txt. Suppose let me create a file object file, then I can use the open method. This is the first step to do any file handling operation. I can use the file parameter and I can pass its location. So the default mode of operation is read operation. Let us do that only. So I can use file.read, file dot read. If you are doing file.read, it is giving me hello Subrat, how are you today? So these are the some operation you have performed. So if you are opening it in write mode, read and write mode, so after that you can read it and you want to write something, file.write. You have wrote something today also. So how are you today? I am fine. You have written inside the file. Let us read that file.read. Read. So you have to move it to first position. File.seek. Seek is to move to the cursor to the initial position. Then only you can read it. File.read. So you have done operation on it. Okay. So let us go to that file Gurukul Wisdom. So here you can see you have written some code inside the file Gurukul wisdom.txt file. Subrat, how are you today? I am fine. So if you are trying to close it here, it is getting closed. Okay. If you are trying to save, the process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. Because I have opened the file, you cannot access it. It is saying you cannot access it. So let us save it again. Gurukul wisdom.txt already exists. Do you want to replace? Yes. So let us try to write something over here, whether it's allowing me or not. Hello world. Do you want to save the changes? Save. The process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. So what it is doing, until unless you are not closing the file, then other processes cannot access this file also. That's why after doing your operation you have to close the file. I don't want to save it. Don't save. Okay, so these are the some limitation, or these are the some difficulties you are facing when you have opened the file. Other processes can't access the file. After doing your work, it is good programming practice to close the file dot. So let us read whether my changed has been updated inside it or not. So I can do file dot seek and let's read it. So till I am fine only it is showing. So we need to close the file explicitly. To close the file we can use file dot close method. So now your file has been closed and whatever the resources allocated to it has been released. So you can open your file and you can do some operation on it. You can add something hello world, then it will be saved. If you are trying to do also save also, it is going to save. So after closing the file only you can do any operation to on it. So it is always a good programming practice that after doing or updating, removing, deleting, whatever the operation you are performing on file, after finishing all those operations you have to close the file. You can close by using the close method. So one more point I have mentioned here, this method is not entirely safe. If an exception occur when you are performing some operation with the file, the code exists without closing the file. So what it is saying, so whenever you are doing some file operation, there may some error occur. At that time what will happen, it will not execute this file dot close method. If some error is occurring at this point, at opening point, if the error after opening, if the error is coming, then file dot close method will not get executed because it will terminate from that point itself. To handle that we can use try and catch block. Inside try block we can put the codes where you are finding the error, where the probability of error getting error is maximum, that you can put it in try block. You can use try. After that you can use the file dot open method. If some error is getting also, your close method will be called. Try catch. This will be a finally block. File dot close. Invalid syntax, you have to give colon here. After giving colon only you can put the statement inside it. And finally also need a colon. You can use file dot close here. So in this way you can use the open method over here inside the try block, and if any error is coming inside the try block, finally will always going to execute, then it will execute file dot close and your resource will be released from it. So in this way you can use try and finally block to write your code. Inside the try block you can write what are the operation you want to perform in file, and inside the final block you can write the cleaning statements. That means close is a cleaning statement. You are just cleaning the resources, or you are just removing the resources. You can use file dot close method over here. So friends, this is all about the close method, how you can use the close method to release the resources allocated to a file. I hope this concept is clear. If you guys have any doubt regarding this, you can leave a comment under my video. Thank you.